Hey, everybody, welcome back to the live Google Hangouts. And what we're going to do is, the reason it stopped is because Charles Tendell started it, and so when he left, it stopped it. So we're just going to make this two different videos, and we're going to continue on. And Ben hopefully will be joining us back at the Google Hangouts momentarily, because I just
if you have them in both services, do you have 3D?
No.
We can't have a 3D show?
No, you can't.
Could be the first 3D computer show.
Yeah, exactly. We
get the Google glasses, but put the 3D goggles over them.
Yeah, no.
You can't. I was hoping.
Yeah, no. So you continue on, Gene. I'm sorry, we're just doing
this is more fun. I'm having more fun this way, but seriously speaking,
yes,
that's the two big things there. They might announce the Beats Electronics acquisition. But then the other speculation about Apple, of course, is the alleged iPhone 6, supposedly coming August or September. And that's going to be the big thing, because the main rumor is that the next iPhone will have a larger display, 4.7 inches. It's 4 inches now. So those who want a bigger iPhone, I don't care. But those who want a bigger iPhone, it may be on the horizon. So that's going to be a big thing. So that is the other big rumor right now, is that Apple will have a 4.7-inch screen, but they will make it thinner to compensate, I guess.
How? They're gonna make that screen even thinner than it already is.
Make the iPhone thinner.
Oh, they're gonna make the iPhone thinner. Okay, the iPhone 6. Okay.
Well, probably also the components will be thinner. And then there's a story, another story that's been out for a few months, about a 5.5-inch version of the iPhone, maybe called the iPhone Air. It's going to be like the iPhone phablet. Now, we know that people who use iPhones kind of really say a phablet, Apple. Why would they do this? Well, think about the 40% market penetration of smartphones bigger than 5 inches in Asia. There's a big demand for these, not so much in the U.S., but a lot of people around the world use those phablets, those bigger smartphones, as their one and only personal computer. They don't have, Mac or PC or anything. That's it. That's their computer.
Yeah, I know. So
this may be a big market for Apple to get into. So the rumor is, because Apple really wants the business in China especially, that this is what they're going to do. Isn't that fascinating? That's the fascinating rumor. The other rumor is that it will not be available with the initial introduction of the next iPhone. It will come later.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. Supposedly, this is the rumor thing, that they're having problems with the battery. I'm starting to sound like I'm fetching here, but they'll have. Do they have the problems with the battery, and then they got the display? And I'll tell you the truth. No, seriously, I don't know. The rumors are wacky, except it's very consistent. The rumors, a lot of times they're all over the place about what Apple's going to do. But very early on, they settled at 4.7 inches for the iPhone 6 and a 5.5-inch version. Very early, not 4.6, not 4.8. They settled on that. And you have to think here, Apple's biggest competitor in smartphones is Samsung. Right now, Samsung's biggest advantage over Apple is a bigger screen. The Galaxy S5 is a 5.1-inch screen. You've seen it, Craig?
Yes, it is. It is. Well, the screen, but they made some of the changes that they were subtle changes. That it wasn't as a big leap when they went from the 2 to the 3, the 4 to the 5. I mean the 4 to the 3 to the 4 was a big change. The 4 to the 5 was not as big a change.
The 4 to 5 has, of course, a non-working fingerprint sensor. It didn't work for the guy from the New York Times. I think Walt Mossberg had problems with it. I don't know anyone who has made that fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy S5 work.
Well, Apple had a little trouble at first with the with it, because but that's why they came out with 7.0.1, and then 7.0.1.1 I think is the current version. And it took them a couple of updates, so it finally it settled back in. Hey, Ben is back. Okay.
All right. Well, here's the scoop about the Touch ID.
Yeah.
It was a little flaky for me too. But the current version of iOS is 7.1.1. There's going to be a 7.1.2 soon because of a security issue and also because of a problem with iMessages. If you
we heard about
that thing.
We talked about that last night. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the iMessages.
Right. But with 7.1.1, they made a lot of changes to Touch ID.
Yeah.
And the best way, if you've got an iPhone 5S and Touch ID is not working, wipe out all your fingerprint settings. Start over in 7.1.1. Start from scratch.
Yeah.
Blow your fingers again.
Yeah.
And you will find, as I did, it is as close to 100% as you can get.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Because what I was finding with the early versions of 7 point whatever is that after you had it, after a week or a week and a half, it started to forget that it became more difficult to log in with your fingerprint, so you had to do it again. You had to. So I think what they did is they found what was causing that, and then the final iteration they completely squashed that bug, because since then I've yet to have to do that again. It remembers the fingerprints now without having to reassign them.
You see, that's a lesson Samsung could learn. You see, at the beginning, Touch ID was a little flaky, but for most people it worked pretty consistently. With the Galaxy S5, Samsung has a feature there that is not as sophisticated as Touch ID, but the worst part of it is the darn thing doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
And it's also not selling as well as they hoped for.
Yeah.
But anyway, iPhone 6, the big thing, of course, would be that it's bigger, probably a better camera, all that sort of stuff.
Well, do we really want a bigger? I don't know if I really want a bigger. I'd like to have it thinner. I had to look at lighter, but I don't know if I want a bigger screen. I mean, the iPhone 5, the 4S, and the 4. Yeah, okay, they went to the 5 when then I liked the larger screen. It was nice. But I don't think we need a bigger phone. You know, if they have about a quarter of an inch on the left and on the right, if they get an edge-to-edge bezel and a little bit more on the top and the better, they can still have a bigger screen, keep the phone the same size, physical size. Gene.
Well, that or maybe slightly larger, but not substantially larger. Now, Apple was very big into saying, look, you can do everything with one hand, which is true if you don't have very small hands. But in going to 4.7 inches, it's going to be a real juggling match.
Yeah.
How it's going to be configured, so I'm really curious to see what they end up with. Obviously, if they go 5.5 inches, all bets are off. But there are people who want those phones. There are people who really do want larger phones, regardless of whether they're more difficult to use.
Well, you know, and that's the thing. I hope, you know, one of the things when I've looked at all the mock-ups of the new iPhones, the one thing that stands out in all those mock-ups, which makes it really look attractive, is the edge-to-edge, no bezel. They've gotten it edge-to-edge, left and right. The screen goes right to the edge, and I think
I hate that.
You hate that?
I hate that.
Why?
Because if I hold my iPhone, as you can see on the video, the way I hold it, my fingers actually curl up a little bit over on the side. If it's edge to edge, my fingers are going to touch that, and that's going to mess with all, you know, swiping and that kind of thing. If I'm not even trying to swipe, just holding it naturally, you need even that little bit of bezel just so you don't touch it accidentally.
Well, maybe
I don't overlap that much.
Yeah,
I think you need a little bit of a bezel, but if Apple still has a space there to reduce it, I see about 1/8 of an inch on either side with my case. I have an iPhone case, and if I look at the case, I see about 1/8 of an inch on either side that they can move the screen out, reduce the bezel at top and bottom, maybe make the unit a hair larger, but not so much larger, not as overwhelming as like one of those Galaxy phones from Samsung.
But it's those bigger phones that are really what people are wanting nowadays. It's just that huge phablet phone amalgamation thing that they like the big phones. It's what people are gravitating towards.
Well, Apple would be forced kicking and screaming into doing it, I think. I think they'll have to do a larger one because, you know, it's not a question here of saying, well, which sizes work best. It is which sizes do people want and where is the market going. And Apple, you know, is considered the trendsetter, but they're not always first with the invention. What they do is they take the invention and make it work better. They weren't for players or tablets or smartphones, but they made them better. So if Apple has to make a larger screen, they'll do something to make it more elegant. There you go.
Well, again, if you right now it's like a quarter of an inch on the left and the right of the phone. So if they go to an eighth of an inch, that'll give you a little bit more there, and then maybe the top and the bottom they can get a little bit more there too.
I'm looking about the fact that I have a case on my iPhone.
Yeah, I don't have a case on my iPhone. Then
all right, that's it. That's why I say an eighth of an inch on either side, because you can have the eighth of an inch on either side. You can still have the overlap for the case, but still, you get the bigger screen.
Yeah.
But I think when you're nitpicking an eighth of an inch here, eighth of an inch there, I mean, yes, I can agree with up and down, but I mean, on the sides, you are among the extreme minority on who cares, especially on the 5S, how big that side bezel is.
You know, Ben didn't have a case on his iPhone and dropped it, and it was okay until a truck ran over it. But he fixed it. That's good. He fixed it. We can't hear you, Ben.
I know. That's how you treat an iPhone. You run over with the truck.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, listen. We're at the top of the first hour. We're going to take a little quick break, just a few moments, and then we're going to be right back with Gene Steinberg, Apple aficionado, Apple expert. We're talking about some of the things that we may be seeing or unveiled at the Worldwide Developer Conference in about 2 weeks. You listen to the Computer America Show on the Boost Radio Network, on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. We will be right back. We have a new London Minute, too. That's all coming up in hour 2 of Computer America.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@ComputerAmerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, not stuck in a tornado, Ben.
Yeah, we wish, obviously, Charles well. It's I can't get him to co-host a show without something interfering. First it's his daughter's graduation.
Acts of nature, they happen, and I agree with you. I think Charles is going to be okay.
I'm sure he'll be fine. He didn't have a cellar in his building, but he says he has one in his home. So hopefully he will be safe, and we'll hear about that. But I mean, everybody just kind of panicky, and they just got up and ran. So. We wish him well.
We'll update everyone on Monday.
Yeah, we'll update it. No, Tuesday, because there's no live show on Monday.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good now.
It's Memorial Day weekend. There will be no live show on Monday. We'll be back live on the air on Tuesday. But in the meantime, Gene Steinberg continues on with us. And we're sort of all over the road tonight, of course. It's Friday that we're going to have our show reminder winner of the week. We're going to be announcing that person coming up probably at the bottom of the hour. And Gene is, we're talking about all the things, with Apple. We're talking about the Worldwide Developer Conference. We're talking about the new Mac OS 10, 10.10, which is yet to be named. We're talking about iOS 8, which is and also we're talking about a little bit about the 7.1.1, which is the latest version, and the corrections that they made to this. I've also made the commitment to go once again to upgrade to Mavericks. The first time I did it was a disaster, but that's because I did it like on the eve of it coming out. I didn't follow my own advice, so I just updated so well. And then I had to go back to Mountain Lion, but I think now it's stabilized enough that I will update to Mavericks over the weekend, and we'll see how that works, how that turns out for Monday. In the meantime, Gene, so where were we? We're talking about 7.1.1 and how people, basically upgraded to that, and now the Touch ID really seems to be working well. Apple has more plans for Touch ID, you think, other than just logging into your iPhone? You can use it now to buy software.
Well, expanding it to allow other apps to access it, that would be very interesting and very important. And bear in mind, there are also published reports that the next iPads will also have Touch ID.
Really?
I'd like to see some variation of that on Macs, too. You know, they've had fingerprint sensors on PC notebooks. What about on a MacBook?
Not on a Mac, but how about just an iMac?
All right. More so with a portable, because people take it around, and wouldn't you want to restrict access in that way?
I'd like to have a little touch ID on my iMac, so when I'm ready to buy something, I just touch the keyboard. Let's say have it right on the keyboard, and then do its thing.
Could it be used as like a
sense of with a notebook computer, it travels with you.
Yeah.
And someone gets a hold of it, and you've got Touch ID.
Yeah.
So they can't access anything on it. Now, of course, you have passwords and stuff like that. The security issues, I think, are more relevant for a notebook first before it becomes relevant for the iMac. But who knows what Apple does? Okay.
Well, I mean, couldn't you say this as an alternative to a password manager or just all the passwords that people, I don't know how passwords people have nowadays. I have close to 15, 16 I use, on a regular basis. Couldn't this be a replacement for all those passwords?
It could be, yes. It depends on how Apple expands it. If they expand it for use for general passwords, it becomes like a 1Password lock-unlock feature, sure. But there always has to be another workaround. Because if your fingers get wet or greasy, any reason why it won't work. And remember, Touch ID does not work when you restart. You got to go back to your passcode.
Yes, I noticed that. When you restart your iPhone, you can't use Touch ID. What was the reasoning behind that, Gene?
There's a security reason, I think, that they do that. But the key is here, you always need the alternative. Because there are situations where you won't be able to use your fingerprint. Not because someone cut it off, in one of these spy movies. Because they can't do that. You can't cut off your finger and take it and put it on another iPhone and get it to work. Not going to happen. There are various reasons of biology why it won't. But the key here is that you need an alternative. What if it's greasy? You're sitting there and you're working with your iPhone and you're in an auto repair shop. You're doing like Charles there is. He's rebuilding an old Mazda RX-2 with a Wankel engine, which is what I wanted him to rebuild. That would be nice. Take one of those original. I used to have one of those back in the 70s. And did you ever drive a car with a Wankel engine?
No.
The rotary engine?
No, I remember though. They were very popular in the 80s. Mazda had them.
Right. They had. Well, actually, it was invented by a division of Audi. A guy named Wankel invented it. And the only company to make it successful was Mazda. It came out in the late 60s. They brought it to this country, the R100, and then the RX-2, which was the car I had. Now, the problem with it, of course, is that after 60 or 70,000 miles, you had to replace the seals, which is like replacing, doing a valve job on a regular engine.
Yeah.
It never had the same fuel economy as a standard engine. That's true with the RX-8, which is the Mazda sports car. This is your auto computer show, ladies and gentlemen. But seriously, they never got it to have the better fuel economy. Supposedly, though, although rotary engines are currently not available in cars from Mazda, they are supposedly working on a new generation. So it may come back. I would have liked to buy an RX-8. I never did.
I remember Jack points out in the chat room, and I just remember the Mazda commercial. It says the Mazda goes hum.
Right, yeah. And they did.
Yeah.
I put like 60 or 70,000 miles on this RX-2 before the rotor seals were shot.
Yeah.
The clutch master cylinder was shot, and I just got it to work long enough to get to the car dealer to trade it in. It was quite an adventure.
Yeah, but did you like the rotary engine?
I loved it.
Yeah. Why don't you get another one?
Well, there aren't any now, unless I get a used one.
Yeah.
They don't make them anymore. They don't sell them anymore.
Why? It was a great engine.
Well, it's up to Mazda. Give them a call. Give the leadership of Mazda a call. They've actually got a couple of really good cars there. The Mazda 6 is a wonderful mid-sized car, very well rated. It has, a regular 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah.
Gets 40 miles a gallon. It's a mid-sized car. It's pretty good, but would be nice with a rotary, because the big thing about the rotary engine is until they put it in the RX-8 sports car, Mazda put them in the standard, mid-sized car, the family car.
Yeah.
So you get the family car with this wacky engine in it, and that's unfortunate. I hope they do it.
Yeah. Well. Okay, so where are we now? So we're talking about.
I don't know. I'm in Arizona or in North Carolina, right?
We went from Touch ID not working because of smudgy hands, and then we got on cars.
Smudgy hands. Yeah.
Well, you have to think. Remember also, Apple is putting iOS in the car.
Yes, that's true.
Right? If you can afford like a Mercedes or you can afford a brand new Ferrari, hey.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, we've been hearing year after year after year, Apple is going to come out, maybe with an iWatch. Do you think that's ever going to happen, or do I finally just have to buy another watch? I've been holding out ever since I flushed my watch down the toilet accidentally.
Excuse me, do tell.
Yeah, I flushed my watch accidentally down the toilet. I've had it for like 10 years. It was 15 years. Beautiful digital watch. Flushed it down the toilet accidentally. It was the worst coincidence that could have ever happened, but I did. So.
And you spend $10,000 to repair the septic tank.
No, I don't have a septic tank, fortunately. But the point,
I do. I don't want to tell you the story.
Yeah, and the tank keeps accurate time. How about that? But
Oh, that's gonna. The implications here are, unfortunately, this is family radio, and we cannot use the words that
we can't
to me right now.
But so, is Apple ever going to come out with an iWatch? Do you think, or you think it's just never going to really happen?
I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen this year. Remember, Tim Cook has said on several occasions, there will be new product categories, plural. Okay. Wearables is something I think he's personally interested in. Apple has hired people from the fashion industry. So if there's going to be an iWatch, it's going to be not just a watch, but a piece of fine jewelry.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Although I have to say, have you seen the Moto 360 watch? That's the only digital watch that I would consider. If Apple doesn't come out with one, because it's actually a really nice. It looks like it's got a round watch. It's thin, yet it's got the touch color screen and everything. It's a really nice looking watch. I may go for that if Apple doesn't come out with something. But I'm hoping.
I think they're going to have something.
I hope so, because
I think there's going to be an iWatch. Apple has quietly trademarked the iWatch name around the world. Really? They wouldn't do that if they didn't have some intention of producing something. It will not be like these other smartwatches, like a Pebble
I hate those.
or a Galaxy Gear.
No, awful.
No, perfectly awful, especially the Galaxy Gear.
Yeah.
I mean, Samsung, throws darts at the wall.
Yeah, no. But have you seen the Moto 360? I mean, it's a nice. To me, it's the first watch of its kind that actually looks nice. It looks like a piece of jewelry. I mean, it's flat and it's round. It's not a bulky thing. Have you seen a picture of it?
I haven't paid much attention.
Well, you should take a look at it. Matter of fact, I can find a link.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, it does look kind of nice.
Yeah, and there's a video. You can watch the video because the whole screen is the screen is completely definable, and they flip through it. They touch it, and it's a nice looking watch. And if Apple doesn't come out with something, then I would consider getting something like that.
Wouldn't they just?
It's not out officially yet, is it?
Yeah, it's just coming out now.
Okay.
Yeah, just coming out.
Wouldn't Apple have some stake in just trademarking the term iWatch, even if they weren't going to come out with one, just so no one else, snagged it up?
Gauge towards future, yes. I wouldn't be surprised over that.
Yeah.
Apple could do that as a gauge to the future, hedging their bets. They'll trademark names. I think something is going to happen in wearables, and the reason is because Tim Cook is very high on wearables.
He is?
He's made that very clear.
Okay, that's good.
But you don't see anything like a Google Glass or anything like that. Just a watch, most likely?
The Apple Borg machine. Yeah, that's all we need.
Hey, it could happen. It could happen.
Well, not on this planet, not in this century, not in this reality.
How about an alternate universe?
I think Google Glass is, everything I read about it, I am so convinced I will never want one. And if I saw someone wearing one, I'd maybe, give him 10 cents because I feel he just wasted $1,500 on a piece of junk, and he needs the cash. And if enough of us gave him 10 cents, he'd get a refund.
Oh, I'm so glad that Charles isn't here to hear that.
He owns Google Glass.
Yes,
right?
he does. Yes, he does.
Okay, so he's a Borg. Locutus of Borg.
Yeah, exactly.
Engage. No.
Yeah, he likes it. He likes it a lot. He's been wearing it, and but again, that's a bit much.
So we call him Borg, right?
No, we call him Charles.
I'll call him Borg.
Okay.
Okay. From now on, until he gives up his Google Glass, Charles is now henceforth will be known as Borg.
Until he gives up his. Okay, so Borg will join us Tuesday, I'm sure.
He will. Okay. So again, just speculation. You have no idea what this iWatch might look like, or other than you say it will look like a piece of jewelry rather than a computer strapped to your wrist.
That's right, because I think everything you've seen so far as a smartwatch, with the exception of Motorola, which has more of a traditional watch look, everything you've seen as a smartwatch, forget about it. That's not going to happen. That's not what Apple's going to do, because Apple cleans that stuff up. That's what they did with the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad. They clean it up, they make it elegant, and they make it do the things that make sense, not just have features for the heck of it.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, or I hope, that what they will do is make it possible for the thing to work by itself without need of a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
Because think of it this way, you buy a fancy iWatch, and maybe Apple will have an expensive version in addition to the cheap version.
Mm-hmm.
You stick it on your hand, you leave your house, but you forgot your iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Will you have a doorstop, or will you have something that does something?
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I hate to say this, but I've it's happened to me a number of times where I'll go out the house, but at least I catch myself when I'm in the car, and then I realize, I left my iPhone in the charging stand. It's only happened a few times, but I've never left the house completely and had to come back. At least I do know that, and that's partly due to the fact that I have a TomTom in my car. And one of the first things that it does is it synchronizes to the Bluetooth of my iPhone, and if don't have it with me, it's going to say, it says iPhone not ready, and I go, uh-oh, and then I realize that I left my iPhone in the house, so I have to stop the car, go in and run in and get it. That's only happened a few times, but so if I have an iWatch and I leave the iPhone at home, and for some reason I forget the iPhone. Am I going to still have a watch? I'm going to have something that's going to do something, at least tell the time, minimal usage?
It will have some level of usage, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It has to. I think Apple would be making a huge mistake if it doesn't.
If it just relied on the iPhone. But obviously, if you have an iPhone, it's going to do a lot more.
I guess it depends on where Apple wants to take it. I don't think they're going to load it up with features, because you only can do so much.
I hope not.
In that size device. I expect some of the circuitry may be in the case as opposed to the...
In the strap?
The strap, yes.
Yeah.
I think some of it's going to be in the strap.
Well, I hope so.
I don't think it's all going to be in the actual unit itself, because that's going to require some incredible miniaturization. But then Apple does cutting-edge stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily want the watch to be a pedometer and all, the sports things.
Oh, it will be.
Yeah, maybe give people the option to install apps to do that from their iPhone, maybe. But I just basically want the watch to tell the time, give me the date, the day, the week, that type of thing.
No, it won't do that for sure. I mean, your iPhone already has an accelerometer and a magnetometer and a bobotometer. I mean, it has all that stuff. It has everything you need.
Except It's inconvenient because every time I want to look at the time, I look at my wrist and I got to pull the phone.
I'm sure, no, on your phone. But I mean, if they could add all those little barometers onto the watch, it's already going to be capable of tracking all the fitness stuff without adding extra bells and whistles. So for you to say it won't be that stuff, they would have to not take advantage of technology that they already have access to. It's going to be all that stuff, but I'm sure it's going to be sleek, clean, and you have a feature where you can just turn your wrist and you'll see the time. It's not going to be fancy, it's not going to be in your face obtrusive. It's just going to be it's going to have those features though.
Now it'll either be an always on thing, or when you remove your wrist to look at it, the time will appear. But I'm hoping it'll be some sort of an always on feature, or allow me to do that, and also hopefully it'll give me more than 1 day of battery power. That's the other thing, is the recharging. How is it going to work?
It may have a feature where when you look at it, it is immediately activated. How's that?
Yeah.
Save battery life.
They do that for the iPhone now. When you hold it up to your face, it turns off, and then when you look at it, it turns back on.
Yeah, that's the.
My face has been turning off people for a long time.
As well. Okay, so I think we've covered most everything for the iWatch, and we talked a little about the iPhone. They may make an iPhone phablet, they may or may not. But anything else before we? I want to move into a different topic, but anything else about Worldwide Development Conference?
Well, there's a slight possibility here that if Apple's going to do an iWatch, they may open up the API for developers to come up with special apps for the iWatch. If that were to be the case, there could be a demonstration of the iWatch at the WWDC. And one reason why Apple might do that is create demand for the product. There's no previous model to kill sales of. It's not like, for example, the iPhone, where you don't say anything about the new iPhone until you're just about a week away from selling it.
Mm-hmm.
With an iWatch, it's never been sold before. Remember that the iPad and even the iPhone, by a number of months, they pre-announced it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very likely here, if they want developer participation, that Apple will give an early demonstration of an iWatch.
Mm-hmm.
That's a possibility. And that's going to be a week from Tuesday.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be you think the
week from Monday, excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. Do you
Get my calendar's all screwed up here. I'm in another dimension.
Yes, you are.
It's the Borg that's attacking me. There they are right now. There's somebody coming over in a Borg uniform. Forget it.
Do you think that's going to look like a typical watch, or do you think it's going to be one where it's like the band and it's built into the band? I mean, some basic
think
design.
Apple would want to make it under normal circumstances, before you run any apps or features, look very much like a watch. And then when you access features, it will look like those features.
Which is a little bit what the Moto 360 looks like.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
It looks like.
But that would be interesting. That looks almost exactly like a watch under normal use, and then when you want to do things, you push a button or you say something.
You just touch the screen or tap the screen or talk to it. Yeah, I don't know if you watched the video yet, but it's
right.
You
watch
the video.
Tell me yourself here. Okay. Also, you have to be able to talk on it. Dick Tracy, calling Dick Tracy.
Yeah. Well, and that seems glamorous. That's fun, but the actual practicality of that, again, is I don't know how practical that is. I think it's right there in your wrist. You just tap it, or or turn your wrist or something. And I think that what would be nice is they could figure out a way of generating battery power, like self-winding watches. They have where you don't really need a battery. That the motion of your wrist,
Did you just say that the iPhone, the iWatch, potentially one of the most technologically advanced watches, needs a self-wind feature?
Yeah, in other words, well, there's a company I call the not VTech. There's a V series where it is a digital watch. It has no batteries. It actually it recharges itself by the motion, by your arm motion. You never have to charge.
Does it have to power a CPU?
Yeah, I mean it's a digital watch, but you don't ever have to put a battery in it. It's the motion of your arm, on a day-to-day basis keeps the watch.
What about RAM? What about graphics card?
Yeah.
What about display screen? What about anything that an iWatch would have?
Yeah. No, so it can be done because there is a company that's doing it now. So if Apple could take that to the next level and make it so you never have to put a battery in it again, or it just always recharges just by day-to-day movement, that would be nice, Gene.
All right. Or you can do the locomotion there and keep it going.
Yeah, I mean it would be a self-powered watch just from the motion, from kinetic energy is what it would be.
And maybe you have a little solar sensor.
Well, that too, but I guess if you don't move much and you live in a basement, then you're going to be out of luck. But for the average person, I think that just day-to-day activities could keep it charged. But just by the battery, just by motion.
An endless battery, a fascinating concept.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, they develop free energy.
Really?
It's all going to be 0-point energy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know you can't stay with this. Can you stay with us for another 6 minutes, and then we'll say goodnight to you, and then.
Yeah, I will allow that.
All right, and
my handlers are kind of chafing at the bit there.
I understand that, and then Ben and I will segue into the computer news segment of the show.
I'll watch them handlers.
Exactly. So
we're big stars like me. We have handlers.
Yes, I understand that. So what about the Paracast? What's coming up in the Paracast?
Funny you should ask.
Yeah.
That was an old line from a comedian.
I understand.
Funny you should ask.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Laurie Amsterdam used that line.
Yes, many times.
That's right. And if I use it again, I'm channeling Maury Amsterdam on our show. Now, this weekend we're going to have Nick Pope. He's the guy who used to head the Ministry of Defense in the UK and did the UFO project.
Uh-huh.
And John Burroughs, U.S. Air Force retired, who was one of the witnesses in the Rendlesham UFO case back in 1980. All right, now this is interesting. They're authors of a new book called Encounter in Rendlesham Forest, which is a really elaborate book. It's a hardcover book from a division of St. Martin's Press. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about a major publisher committing to a UFO-oriented book. And this is a really interesting case, especially now, because, the big thing in the news now, of course, is the VA scandal, mm-hmm. where veterans aren't getting treatment. Well, John Burroughs is a veteran. He was in the Air Force. And he has had a real snafu being treated for possible radiation-related injuries as a result of being in close proximity to this UFO back in 1980. Mm-hmm. Since then, he's had problems. He has had heart valve replacements. He has a pacemaker now. And he can't get the VA to give to his doctors all the information about his condition because of his involvement in a UFO case. The information is classified.
That doesn't sound good.
Can you gather that?
Yeah.
This is pretty wacky. And it is so current. And that's going to be on this weekend's edition of the Paracast. Nick Pope, John Burroughs. The book is Encounter in Rendlesham Forest. And you got to hear this, folks. It's going to be one of the best shows we've ever done. All right. And it's going to be in the Paracast this weekend. You can check it out at theparacast.com or find a link for my stuff over at computeramerica.com.
Absolutely. We do have a link there. All right. Well, Gene, I want to thank you for being with us here on tonight's show and telling us all this stuff. And, after the Worldwide Developer Conference, because I will watch the live keynote, I'll watch that and see what the announcements are, and then we'll have you back on and as a follow-up and to talk more about what happened there, okay?
Arnold says, I'll be back.
Okay, Gene. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. So, Ben, we're going to continue on.
All right.
Yeah, we are. Again, sorry about Charles Tendell. We don't know what happened to him. We think there's a twister or a tornado headed in his general direction, and so when he heard that there was a twister heading in his general direction, he figured he would head the opposite way.
It was either that or stunning coordination by his whole family.
Yes, exactly. His whole family basically booked out of there and headed home because they don't have a real big cellar, evidently, in the place where his business is, but they evidently do have one in his home. And so I can see them now all huddled together and now, I'm sure Charles may be listening because I know he can listen to us on the Boost Radio Network. They have that wonderful app that allows you to listen to the show remotely. So maybe he might even call in while the twister is hitting. Who knows? No, Ben, I can't hear you. Your mic's off.
Let's hope he worries about safety first before he worries about again.
Yes, this is very true. Okay, so let's do this. Well, before we do the computer news, why don't we do our show reminder winner of the week? I think this is a good time to do it. Okay.
Perfect.
All right, so let's do that. So again, our show reminder winner of the week is Ahmad Nelson.
Yay!
Ahmad Nelson, congratulations. You're this week's show reminder winner. Ahmad wins the Logitech wireless rechargeable touchpad T650. Wow, this is a really nice. It's got the large, smooth glass surface. Gives you the fingers to freedom to perform up to 13 unique Windows 8 gestures. It's valued at $80. So congratulations, Ahmad. You are our show reminder winner of the week. And again, you can be our next week's show reminder winner. All you have to do is subscribe to our weekly email newsletter, The Show Reminder. It's right there under our contest pull-down menu. It's under the first pull-down menu. And you'll see all the different contests that we have here at Computer America. And just select it, and you'll see that we have our show reminder of the week, winner of the week. We also have our Logitech contest winner. That's in full swing. The Logitech contest goes up till Friday, June the 20th at 12 a.m. in the morning. And then what we'll do is we close it down. Then on the following Monday, June 23rd, we'll announce the next 3 big winners. But, don't wait. Enter in all of our contests at Computer America. They're all private. They're all free. And you really should do it. And you'll have a lot of fun playing it. And who knows, you might win something really, really nice. Hey, coming up in the next half hour, Ben and I are going to be doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. I got some really interesting stories coming up. We'll be right back with more Computer America. Stay with us.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 120,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, Cover America Auto Care has announced revolutionary, inexpensive mechanical breakdown coverage that is now available to the general public to save consumers thousands on auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for drivers to call who own a vehicle that is less than 10 years old for a free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number is 800-483-2514. Drivers who are covered with this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair again. This is the auto coverage now sweeping across America at a fraction of what dealerships charge and is now available to the public by calling today. The number to call is 800-483-2514. 800-483-2514. That's 800-483-2514.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
This is your London Minute. Voice memo. I'm feeling a bit like Jenny Lee and Call the Midwife. No babies to deliver, but I do reduce stress on my home visits as a computer trainer. What are my biggest challenges? The breech birth of computing? Well, as you're asking, On a bad day, it's scary dogs and unexpected pornography. And don't ask me about the Randy Yorkshire Terrier. Let's just say it was #awkward. Other challenges involve explaining that learning the computer is a layered affair. It can't be done in an hour or two. So often, it's not what I've said, but what I have held back for another day, maybe never. Too much too soon will result in a digital retreat, and the computer will be shut down. Slow and steady always wins the race. I help filter out the noise and the clatter that is social media, and apps which, let's face it, are up to our eyeballs. As those listening on Computer America are more likely to be the ones helping rather than the ones in need, here are some tips to help those less confident with computing. Slow down. Digital native family members love rushing in, fixing something in a hurry, a little in secret, and then like dashing off. When I speak with new clients, it's the most common complaint I hear. Don't give them fish, but teach them to cook. Remember the former Pope who didn't send his first tweet? He got fish. What's right for you might be all wrong for the person you're helping. LinkedIn is not suitable for all generations. Neither is Snapchat. Avoid jargon. Does your mother really need to know the difference between POP and IMAP? If you see a glazed look coming back at you, for goodness sake, stop. If you want to hear more from me, catch me over in Avast the antivirus. Set your language settings to UK English, and ta-da! I'll be announcing that your scan has been completed. And I might feel it necessary to say, threat has been detected. I'll see you over on Twitter. I'm at Computer Tweety. This is Patricia Reichel for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 34 minutes past the hour, and we just got done talking to Genen Steinberg, and now we are moving on to, I believe, computer and technology news. Right, Craig?
That's what we're going to do, so let's do it. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right, everything at slimwareutilities.com, website, completely free. Download them all. You'll enjoy using them. They'll do exactly what I said they'll do, and you'll thank us for it. Okay. So, Ben, we have some interesting news stories here.
We do.
Yes, we do. Evidently, this one from Maximum PC, Cox plans to offer all residential customers 1 gigabit per second service by 2016. Wow.
And that's not too far away.
No. Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Omaha will be the first to receive 1 gigabit service from Cox. Maybe by the end of the decade, we'll all be rocking 1 gigabit per second internet connections. It's not only Google, evidently. There seems to be an increased interest on the part of broadcast internet providers to keep pace with Google and its Google Fiber service. So it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when we'll see gigabit speeds. If you're a Cox Communications customer, expect to see 1 gigabit per second broadband internet service available by the end of 2016. Cox is planning to roll out gigabit service across all of its markets within the next couple of years, starting with Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Omaha. They're quoted as saying, "We are excited about our roadmap to offer gigabit speeds to all of our residential customers," said the president of Cox Communications. Starting today, we will begin deploying new technology and infrastructure that will give customers the choice of gigabit speeds in all markets we serve. As gigabit service is being rolled out to new areas, Cox said it will double the speeds on its most popular tiers from 25 megabits per second to 50 megabits per second. Okay. Meanwhile, Cox high-speed Internet Premier will jump from 50 to 100 megabits per second. Between the two, they represent 70% of Cox's high-speed customers. There you go. Now, as you know, we here we use a Charter here in the Carolinas, and a Charter offers 100 gigabit per second now to its
100 megabit per second.
100 megabits per second. Yes, exactly. So that's nice. So Cox is going to be catching up now. In Florida, we don't have Cox. We have what? Is it Comcast?
Uverse.
Uverse. Well, yeah, but
Uverse.
the cable company there is Comcast, is it? Or
Nope.
what is it?
It's all Uverse.
No, but there's a cable company there too.
You mean the one that we personally don't use?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Comcast.
Comcast. Okay, so Comcast is in Florida.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Cox is in many other parts of the country. Okay, so.
Cox has a monopoly in Gainesville, Florida. All you UF fans out there.
Okay.
That's them.
All right. Well, good. Well, I mean, look, it's inevitable. Eventually, these faster services are going to get out there. They have to remain competitive, and especially with Google now offering it. Obviously, they can't. I mean, I'm glad that Google offered it because it's obviously providing an incentive to other companies to.
It just thinks that they had to wait for Google. I mean, everywhere Google has been or has said they were going to be, all of a sudden, magically out of thin air, all the cable companies are like, yeah, we're going to do that too. I just didn't understand why it took Google jumping into it and saying, here's what we can do. Why did they have to wait for Google to do it? Why couldn't they just give people 1 gigabit? Because people want it.
Well, here's the thing, though, because now obviously they have to lay down fiber cable. I mean, they have to replace the copper cable that's in it. So the fiber, it's glass fiber cable. So they're gonna have to put all that down. It's not just it's just not a simple let's update our equipment and we'll do it. The physical connection has to be able to handle it. And so they're putting it. And I'm wondering when they put down this fiber. That the 1 gigabit is not really the ceiling, that they can actually take it higher, because who knows, 10 years from now they may be talking about terabit per second,
Undoubtedly they will, but I mean 1 gigabit per second probably isn't the limit, but if you're trying to offer it to an entire city, 1 gigabit per second per customer is probably all that fiber could handle.
Well, or they're putting in some kind of cabling that will be able to be upgraded later on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
As technology improves, without having to relay the cable again. That's what I'm saying. Okay, well, you do a story.
Fine. I mean, all right, whatever. I'll do one. Could say please, but whatever.
Please.
All right. Well, I like this one. This one is Craig is. If you've known Craig for more than 3 seconds, you'll know that he enjoys lasers and lasers of sorts.
Yes.
I remember the first time he spent Halloween with us, he went as Laser Man. It was rather ridiculous and not very.
You all loved it. Come on, you loved it.
Is what we told him. By the way, Laser Man involved just having a little dongle hanging off his pocket shirt that changed colors, and then he took his green laser, which I'm pretty sure could put an eye out, and shined it at kids walking around in Halloween costumes. It was a weird Halloween, to say the least. So,
but when you remember, obviously.
Yeah. So this one is from Wired, and this is titled "This Wickedly Bright Flashlight Can Cook an Egg." So I know it's flashlight, and yet we were just talking about lasers. So the folks over at Wicked Lasers, as the company that makes it, are best known for their spectacular and slightly dangerous handheld lasers. But the company also makes spectacularly and slightly dangerous flashlights. The flash torch beams white light at a blinding 4,100 lumens. That's 100 watts of streaming light, powerful enough to fry an egg. Indeed, we use the original torch to melt a plastic ant. The new version is perfect for illuminating a backyard when your cat sneaks out, or lighting up a trail at night during a nighttime hike. But to give your preschooler something else for shadow puppet time, though. Best to give your preschooler something else for puppet time, though.
Okay.
Forged from an anodized military-grade aluminum, light funnels through a reflector channel to the flashlight and excess heat-resistant lens, probably good. That channel is adjustable, so you can illuminate a wide area or focus beam to a narrow single spot, much like any kind of flashlight. The flash torch itself has 3 power modes at 18,650 mega something
Milliamps.
milliamps. Perfect. Capable of delivering 10 to 40 minutes of continuous use depending on the setting. Its powerful halogen lamp also has a 2,000 hour life, so you won't be needing to replace the bulb anytime soon. Check it out, Flash Torch, Wicked Lasers, on their website, $200.
Yeah.
So if you want a flashlight that can cook an egg.
This is
weird.
It's a nice flashlight. I mean, it's very cool. Obviously, especially if you're in the woods and you want to light it up to be to see, I can certainly see this being handy. Maybe
You'd hope it's a short walk because it's only about a 40-minute time.
Yeah, I could see this also in a household as a non-lethal weapon. Literally, I mean, you just blast somebody in the eyes with this, you're probably going to blind them, I would think. So
it says 100 watts, so I'm sure a lot of people have a 100-watt light bulb. If you stare at that, it's pretty bright. But as for weapon, I wouldn't think so. I think it's more, if you really need a powerful flashlight, this is your answer.
Yeah. Well, Wicked Lasers has been around for some time, and they do make these, lasers that are dangerous, handheld, little tiny pen lasers that can pop balloons, and they're quite strong for a handheld.
And also get you arrested if you feel like blinding a pilot.
Now you can't. Yeah, in the days when we did the Halloween thing, when I was Laser Man, they didn't have anything like that in place. But because people were starting to blast these lasers off of aircraft overhead, evidently somebody complained, and it's now illegal. There are laws against it. You get caught with that, hitting a plane with one of those things, you can get yourself arrested. So yeah, things have changed. Okay.
Slightly dangerous indeed. So, any other story that catches your eye?
Yes, a lot of interesting stories. I like this. This was from this is from Device. Again, this is the website for the Sci-Fi Channel. I remember when I bought your mother a little Roomba. Remember the little circular robot that would vacuum the floor?
They used to have commercials for a minute, and everyone loves the cat videos where cats sit on top of Roombas and puddle around.
They still sell well. Evidently, someone's come up with something else called it's a wall-crawling robo-squid. It's a concept that will keep your home squeaky clean. This is a Toady, the squishy, four-limbed, dust-busting robot cephalopod. If you're the sort of person if you're the sort of person who easily gets irked by the cobwebs that seemingly pop up overnight in your home's hardest-to-reach corners, then you just might leap at the chance to get your hands on this little house-dusting robot. Thought up by a Turkish designer, the Toady is designed to be the ultimate Roomba. Its 4 tentacle-like limbs each sport 22 steam nozzles, 29 vacuum nozzles, and thousands of tiny adhesive pads, similar to those on the feet of a gecko. In theory, Toady's limbs would allow it to not only climb your walls, but your windows, furniture, and curtains as well. It'll even be capable of steam cleaning your ceilings and the underside of your furniture.
See, I steam clean the bottom of my furniture so infrequently. This would help.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So programming your RoboSquid is done through simple voice commands. You can even tell it to hide itself away when you're in the room or when company is about to arrive. As part of this year's Electrolux Design Lab competition, Toady is very much still a concept. Still, as concepts go, we could imagine this house cleaning squid fitting right in with the lawn mowing and floor cleaning robots that we already have around the house. Heck, if Alper ends up winning, we just might get the chance to test out Toady on our own. Okay. On the other hand, if giant wall-crawling squids are your secret terror, maybe this little robo servant isn't the one for you. I don't know. It's still a concept, but I think it'd be kind of cool.
It would be. I mean, it'd be fun to think of an entire household just kind of cleaned by robots. He's right. Like the lawn mowing robot that they have now, a Roomba. They have ones for pools now. The wall cleaning one. Just in your entire house, just buzzing with these little robots that go around cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun.
Okay, that would be cool. All right. Well, you pick a story.
All right. Well, I'm a fan of computers that aren't in traditional cases. If you think of computers, you used to think about giant towers, and then you think about maybe laptops, and then you think about the all-in-ones where it's just in the monitor, and then you might think about a tablet or whatever you might think of a computer nowadays. This one from Maxim PC is from a company called Zotac. I've never heard of them. Zotac unveils the ZBox Sphere OI 520 mini PC.
This looks cool.
Yeah, it's a little computer about the size of looks about the size of a softball, and the article of course goes for those looking for a round PC experience, hardware manufacturer Zotac International has unveiled the new ZBox Sphere OI 520 series. The form of this series is this series of mini PCs is in the shape of a sphere and is powered by the Intel Core i5 4200U, which is about 1.6 gigahertz, 2.6 gigahertz turbo. Not the fastest, but still enough to get you where you need to go. The ZBox O series offers two types for consumers. The 520 base model comes with an Intel HD 4400 graphics and no RAM. There are two slots to accommodate 16 gigs RAM, but there's no RAM built in, or at least shipped with it. The ZBox is supposed to be easy to upgrade. The twist off top. Okay, so you really can't see the picture, but if you go look you'll see a blue ring that goes around the circumference of it. Apparently, the top of it kind of twists off, and you can easily insert RAM or upgrade one of the other parts just like that. So it's not very hard to take it apart. So, and of course, the Plus model will come with 4 gigs of DDR3 RAM and a 500 gigabyte hard drive, not solid state, just normal. So, in addition, both models also have 4 USB 3.0 ports, 3 USB 2.0 ports, and 1 HDMI output and 1 display port. Both units have a GBE LAN port, 802.11ac, and Bluetooth 4.0. Is AC the standard now?
Yes.
I remember going on about AC for a while because when I was still doing the show on a regular basis, N was the top of the creme de la creme. AC was just coming out, so I guess that's getting more and more ubiquitous.
Yeah, it's still a ways to go, but I mean it's now available and you can get it, and certainly should. But this is a cute little computer. I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's different, because most computers don't, aren't.
It's a mini PC. Don't think it's ever going to do anything, that a big PC would, you'd expect a big PC to do. And they actually have pictures up on the Maxim PC website of the back of it. It's actually not a perfect sphere. It sits on like a stand kind of deal, and on the back of the stand is all your HDMI, your display ports, your Ethernet, all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's cute.
It is cute. It is okay, as computers go, I think. Speaking of unusual shapes, this from Tech Hive, Samsung, and we were just talking about the iWatch and everything. Evidently, Samsung now has wearables fever, and the only prescription is more watch phone.
You didn't read that in the right voice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what voice you should have read that in?
What was that?
Samsung has a fever.
Has a fever.
The only prescription is more watch phone.
Yeah, exactly.
From the SNL skit, more cowbell?
Yeah.
Oh, Craig, you're letting me down.
Yeah.
Let me down.
Well, do not underestimate Samsung's obsession with adding complexity to its wrist-worn wearables. The original Galaxy Gear smartwatch was a victim of its own feature creep, and the second generation Gear 2 does nothing to simplify a wearables platform that tries to squeeze way too much into a teeny tiny screen. And now we have word from the Wall Street Journal that Samsung is planning to release a fully self-contained watch phone by July. Okay. The company's current smartwatches let you conduct a phone call directly from a microphone speaker combo built into their chassis, but you still have to connect to a Galaxy smartphone over Bluetooth to use this function. The new watch phone, however, would have a network SIM card built in, turning Samsung's rumored device into a fully realized call-making machine strapped to your wrist. You know, like the kind Dick Tracy wears? Yes, again with the Dick Tracy. Does everyone even like Dick Tracy? Well, you know,
Good question.
he was the first one to do it. And of course, this Tizen-based watch phone would also take photos, record your heart rate data, and do all the other things a smartwatch could possibly do, because Samsung simply can't conceive of simplifying the basic smartwatch paradigm.
Paradigm.
Yeah, yeah, paradigm.
What?
Paradigm.
No. No, Craig Crossman does not know how to not say the word paradigm.
Paradigm. The Gear Fit activity tracking watch wristband is a step in the right direction, precisely because it eliminates some of the over-engineered features that Samsung crams into its fully fledged smartwatches. Okay, but this new device would reverse the trend towards simplicity. Okay, or to look at it in a slightly more charitable light, it would give Samsung another public test case for wearables experimentation. The company is already selling 4 wrist wearables, and unsubstantiated reports say Samsung is preparing to release a smart glass product and a virtual reality headset. So, of course, it wants to release a full-fledged watch phone. Samsung won't stop until it has every conceivable iteration of smartphone, tablet, wristband, and face computer imaginable. That's its vision of mobility, a worldview that says every product path and feature set must be explored. Samsung currently dominates the global smartphone market, so clearly it's doing something right. If the new watch phone can deliver uncompromising call quality and comfortable ergonomics and can fix the interface problems of its current products, it stands a chance of mainstreaming an entirely new consumer electronics category. But we will still have to convince normal people that it's socially acceptable to blurt words into their wrist. What do you think?
Enter Craig with his whole iWatch scheme.
What do you think of that? How it looks? What do you like it?
It's kind of rounded, has a little round shape. It has, just on the face of it, of course, I'm sure it would tell time naturally, but they have like a little menu up. It's not bad looking.
Yeah.
It's definitely different from a traditional watch. You won't say, you won't look at it and say, is that a watch or a smartwatch? It's definitely a watch. But I mean, it's a different kind of device. I had never thought of just taking the phone out of it, because it's no longer wearable. It's its own standalone product.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be connected to a smartphone at all. It would be a smartwatch.
Yeah.
So so that would be different. I don't know if people would jump on board with that, because people love their smartphones, and why would they go out and buy another phone when they already have one?
Well, I have look. It's thinner than the Pebble. It's a thinner watch. So that's okay. It's curved slightly, so it kind of fits to your wrist. It doesn't stand out from it. It sort of almost kind of wraps around it. So it's something that it's rectangular. It's a curved rectangular shape with rounded edges, with rounded corners.
But then again, the one that we're looking at is called the Gear Fit, which
yeah. And I don't know. I mean, you see all the Bluetooth and the clock and everything, and I don't know how it's.
But again, that is the Gear Fit. That's not the fully automated, the fully one that we're talking about right now. That one's coming out in July and has not debuted yet.
Okay. All right. Well.
So the picture that we're talking about right now isn't what the standalone will be.
Okay. But it probably will look something like it.
Could be. I mean, Samsung. But they're right. Samsung has dominated the market and still continues to with all their Galaxy and all their phones. So if anyone can make them appropriate for the masses, it would be them, because they've obviously done it with smartphones. But I'm sure Craig is thinking it. If anyone's going to make it sleek, sexy, smart, that kind of thing, you're gonna have to leave that one to Apple.
Yeah, I think that's right. Well, in the next couple of weeks we'll know, right?
Yeah. And again, I really doubt if Apple's going to jump into that market. But you guys hold out hope. It could happen, maybe.
It could happen.
I doubt it, but you keep hoping.
Well, listen, folks, we're going to have a long weekend ahead of us. It's the Memorial Day weekend, so on the 26th, which is Monday, there will be no live show. Okay, and then on the following day after that, we return live, and we're going to have FileMaker on the show. They haven't been on the show in a long time, but we're going to have them back. And they're going to be talking about the paper. I guess they're going to be talking about the paperless office. That's what FileMaker is really trying to do here. And they've got a new type of database web innovation called WebDirect, which is really it's about their program, about their database and data without paper. It's going to be a really interesting show. That's going to be on Tuesday, and then of course in the second hour we'll have more computer and technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. So what are you going to do on Memorial Day weekend, Ben? I understand you're going to be heading down visiting your brother?
I'm actually going to go out and watch the new Godzilla movie.
Oh, you wouldn't see that with me, but you'll see that with your brother?
No, I'm going by myself.
You get? I thought, what happened to the family experience so we could see the movie together?
That's overrated.
I want to see Godzilla.
90 seconds.
Go look at that. No, I'm actually on Saturday. I'm going to the Highland Games, which is watching a bunch of strong Scotsmen toss anything from heavy logs to heavy rocks to heavy hammers, and then that's pretty much it. It's just a giant exposition of strength. So that should be fun to watch.
Are you going to participate?
No, I will not be. First of all, I pulled something, and second of all, I have never trained for an event in my life. So between the two, not really capable.
But I'm sure you'd look great in the kill.
That's what I'm hoping.
Okay.
I have the legs for it, as much as anyone. Everyone who sees the video knows this.
This is true. Exactly. Well, everybody have a great, fun Memorial Day weekend. Like Ben, get out from behind the computer.
Or don't. Computers are safe and nice and warm.
Yeah, or catch a movie. Do something fun. I'm gonna catch Godzilla. I'll have to see it by myself. And I'm gonna also the new X-Men movie. I'm gonna Future Past. I'm gonna see that as well. I'm looking forward to both those. In the meantime, as I said, have a great Memorial Day weekend, and we will be back on Tuesday with a brand new live show. So until Tuesday night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes
10
floppy.
seconds.
We'll see you Tuesday night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right, and so we're just going to say bye, everybody in the chat room. Bye, everyone. See you Tuesday. Have a great...
I'm just saying, since we actually do the after-hour of Computer America, which is just 10 seconds of Craig typing to the chat room and then saying to the camera, goodbye, everyone, and then there's really no point in having an after-the-show moment.
Well, what would you like to do?
I think it would be nice to... I don't know. We have to think on that. Tonight, for everyone listening, there will be something that Craig and I will be talking about. We'll figure something out to do on the after-hour show, even if it's just one more thing that the other show doesn't get to watch, or a giveaway or something. We'll figure it out. But we will turn the after and before segments into something important.
All right, then that's what we'll do. Okay. All right. Well, then I like that idea, and we'll come up with something. All right.
Because right now it's just if you're vlogging, it's like, welcome to the show, sit back and relax and wait until it starts, and then nothing happens. And then after the show, it's okay, that's the show, good night everyone, and then turn off the camera. We need to turn this into something.
I just heard from Charles, by the way, that the storm passed and is now moving east, and evidently hit a town that got hit by the fires last year. So, but evidently Charles is safe. So just to report.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
See, that's what we could do. We could give little Charles updates in the after-hour show.
That's it. We can. All right, everybody. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you live on Tuesday night.
Go have a burger.
Yes, exactly. Say good night, Ben.
Good night, Ben.
All right, bye.